Matt, the unemployment rate continues to change. Now, right now, it's Tuesday, April 7th. We're recording this for Sunday because we're not going to be live on air on Easter. By Sunday, by the time that rolls around, I think unemployment's going to be a lot higher. But what can you tell us about the unemployment rate and what it's going to do to change the mortgage guidelines?
Well, the unemployment rate is a very that report, that jobs report that comes out on Thursdays has a huge indicator on how the mortgage banks adjust their interest rates and guidelines. And essentially, is what happens is, when we go to lock a rate in, we put it into a pool of other rate locks that are similar in the same pricing as far as interest rates are concerned. And then we start to hedge it against the market. That's how mortgage companies operate on the back end. It puts banks in a nervous position because they're hedging loans that might not be able to close because we can't close unless the consumer has employment secured. But one of the most damaging things that can happen is if a customer closes and then they either go delinquent on their payment, on the first one, second one, anything within the first 12 months of the mortgage, it can cause an enormous amount of red flags for the lender that closed the loan, that it follows them throughout the years because they were closing loans that weren't good. We were putting people in an unsafe position as far as their finances are concerned. And we get dinged for that.
Whenever there's a situation where companies are hit with costs, they are for profit. They have to keep the doors open. They've got to keep the lights on. They've got to keep their people paid and fed, right? Whenever there's costs getting hit, those costs then are pushed out to the consumer. So if you have a lot of people that are delinquent on, mortgages, or you have people that are, the servicers, the mortgage servicers, that's the person you pay your mortgage payment to, are losing money, hand over fist. What do you think? Do you think that's going to impact closing costs, or who do you think that, or do you think it will impact future buyers, or who do you think that's going to impact?
I think that's going to impact future buyers with interest rates. I think that interest rates get ticked up to recover costs. I think that's what, in my opinion, I may or may not be right, but if I was to answer from what I thought, I think that it's going to, if it's not handled properly through the short-term phase. I mean, we're Movement Mortgage in particular. We're focused on the long game, which is in business for a long time to help as many consumers as possible, putting them into real awesome homes with great mortgages, and customer services is extremely important. So that's the long term. If we're not making short-term decisions to be able to protect the long-term game, then you put yourself into a position where you have to close your doors and you can't help anybody anymore. But if everybody starts making desperate decisions to close loans just to close it, to get this customer into a house, and all of a sudden they're in bad mortgage and they go default, or they go late on their first or second payment, then now it's going to cause a whole bunch of terribleness that's going to have a long-term effect. Yeah. And I think that plays into interest rates.